All right, welcome to the Logan Mason ROSC meeting here at the end of May. As all of you know, I'm Rachel, that's Jeanette, and we are your ROSC liaisons here for Logan and Mason County. We've got lots of fun stuff to go over today and some exciting things on the horizon that we're going to be asking for some input on. So feel free to join in, chime in. We're going to have a little bit of time for discussion mid-meeting, but we're going to do that all together because it looks like we are a smaller group today. All right, let me get my screen share going. Here we go. Can everybody see that okay? Awesome. All right, just in case we forgot what day it is. We are going to start off with our Recovery and Action Committee update. So Jeanette, take it away.
Well, good afternoon. Something that's really, I think we all kind of know is that a lot of us move in the same circles. And so I saw some of you this morning, so there's the same kind of updates. For those who don't know what's going on, I definitely want to keep you up to speed. The Recovery and Action Group has been working together to get some kind of swag put together with different sayings, t-shirts,
hang on, hats, Jeanette, I've got a slide for that.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, here we go. There are some of the ideas that folks came up with. Recovery looks good on you. We have the hat with the Hope Dealer, the coffee mug, which has the ROSC logo, and then on the other side it would say, "Let's talk recovery." So some things that were put together, again, the water bottle, recovery in action. So just some things that we are able to put out there, whether it be gifts for those who volunteer their time, a thank you, that type of thing. So that's something that the RIA group has been working on. We also have been talking about the upcoming, we're calling it the Recovery Jam.
Jeanette, I've got slides on those later too, remember? So we can.
That's right. That's right.
You're good.
I'm jumping ahead. Give me my list so I can stay
There's
on
your
track.
List
there it
back.
is.
Sorry,
there it is.
I took it away.
We also have changed our dates for our Recovery and Action Group meetings. We are opening it up twice a month. The second Tuesday of the month and the fourth Sunday of the month is when we're getting together at Land of Lincoln Hall on Woodlawn in Lincoln. We have folks who really wanted to get engaged, and because of work schedules or whatnot, they were unable. So we have created more opportunity for that. We also have tomorrow, we're doing a Facebook Live with Tristan McGraw. He joined us last month and shared a little bit of his story. We will be going live on the Mason County Facebook. I've added the link to that on the Logan County Recoveries Together Facebook page. We'd love for you to join. And if anything, share, comment, like, so that we can get that out there. There is an opportunity for, last month we did a $50 Walmart card. This month, I guess I decided we'll do a $25 Walmart with a $25 Casey's gas card, because I don't know about you, but I'm making some life decisions at the pump lately. So I think that gas cards are a hot ticket as well. So just an incentive to help get the word out. Again, we have our meetings this month. They will land on June 14th. And June 26th, both at 7:30 in the evening. And again, they're in Woodlawn. If anyone is interested, if you know anyone that would like to get involved who can't physically make it, we can create a Zoom link and do what we need to do to keep people engaged and be available to that. So you're more than welcome to shoot me an email. I would be happy to help with that. So that's some of the things that we've been up to. There's the swag again. Sorry, I jumped ahead.
All good, Jeanette.
Oh, one more thing about this. So we know the budget that we have for the these items are smaller than our budget's smaller than what we're able to produce. So we are kind of throwing it out there too. If anyone knows anyone that would like to sponsor an item or something that you may have something in your area that has some funds for recovery or things like that, we are definitely open to that as well.
And
But
we can add your logo.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just kind of throwing that out there. But recovery gear is something that folks have been asking for some time. So they're pretty excited about seeing these come to fruition. So.
Okay. Thank you, Jeanette. All right. So as we kind of get into the summertime and our upcoming event calendar and all the things we have going on, the focus here and the purpose of doing these events is really the anti-stigma campaign, which is a huge push for us here at the ROSC. And I know for all of you and all of the people that we serve, has the potential to be incredibly impactful. So we are really trying to focus, as we stated in our strategic plan, really trying to focus on a few key areas, starting with education, working on community, and working on additional connection opportunities for people with lived experience, people struggling with substance use disorder. So as we all know, stigma is a huge barrier to recovery. I don't need to tell any of us that, but we do, I think, need the reminder and need to be mindful of how much of a barrier it really is for the people around us. Look at some of these synonyms for what stigma is and think about being called any of these words or feeling any of these words as a relation to something that for many people is out of their control. So we are looking to flip the script on stigma in our area, which is a tall order, I know. But I wanted to give us a chance to try to have some hard discussion. We all know that stigma causes all of these problems, right? We're going to have limited access. We're going to have lowered self-esteem, reduced willingness to get help in the first place, to even admit there's a problem. We saw that in our needs assessment, that many people in the community won't admit that there's a problem. So the hard question that I wanted to give a few minutes for us to talk about, what's something that we do, us personally, because I don't know about you, but it's harder to look outward and see all of the problems. We can start with ourselves. So what is a way that any of us or our organizations might do something or say something or ignore something, which is often just as harmful, that might further stigma for people with substance use disorder?
My mic working?
Go for it, Lynn. Get in there.
One of the things that I do on a regular basis, maybe not daily, but pretty often, is when someone makes a comment about they need to throw these addicts in jail or they need to be tougher on these addicts. I try to explain why that doesn't work or why that's not the best option for the best long-term outcome. And so just trying to educate people that think that that's an easy answer to all the reasons that isn't an easy answer. So that's just a personal thing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Does that come up often?
A lot. I mean, we have addiction in our family. It comes up in the family. It comes up in the community. It comes up with just people I run into socially. So that's, it kind of gets old to hear it. And so that's one thing that I am fairly open and honest about my feelings. And I don't care who it is. I don't hold back.
Good. I think it takes so much courage to be a champion for people. And I think a lot of times it's easier to stay silent than it is to speak up, especially when it might be opening a big can of worms, right? I mean, I don't know about you all, but I am super prone to conflict avoidance. And anytime there's something that might come up that is a sensitive subject, my default is to sort of read what's going to be the reaction and try to temper my response to where people are, that isn't always the most effective. And I think especially when the goal is to challenge some of the existing problems, that's not going to be effective. So I recognize that in myself for sure. Does anyone else have anything that we might do or say or ignore that makes it worse or makes it better for people?
I will chime in the silence and say, that our words do matter. We've heard that a lot. I love it, Lynn, that you're a champion in that way. That is a area in which we need that advocacy desperately. And we also need, I've been saying this, but it's true, that trauma-informed care training for folks to be able to move from the what. We kind of get stuck in the what someone's doing, and needing to move into the why. Why are folks continuing this cycle? Why? And a lot of times, like you said, Rachel, it's easier not to go there, right? We are messy people. That's what we are. We don't build furniture around here. We deal with people's lives, and it's hard, and it's can be frustrating and daunting at times. But that is what was required to really initiate authentic long-term change, is getting in there and trying to understand folks, right? Creating safe spaces and places to be able to hear one another and get an idea of where someone's coming from. And we know research shows us that education reduces stigma, right? And so educating someone like that, Lynn, the way that Lynn was sharing, giving a different perspective, because we do see that all over, right? Law and order, and tougher on crime. And what we see is that people are broken, and the cycle continues. So yeah, I thought I'd throw that in. Yes, that's right. It's not what's wrong with you. It's asking what happened to you.
Who else can chime in here? I know we all have little things that we see or do, or recognize ways that we or others could improve. This is why this is a hard discussion.
I think stigma takes form. We've kind of already talked about it, but in different ways, like our own implicit bias, but then our, maybe in our professional setting, there's barriers like an us versus them situation. And there's, our different types of personal experiences that foster, maybe in our interactions that we've had, maybe a stereotype has been created, and then trying to understand and move away from that quote unquote stereotype. So, how can we challenge these? I think my personal opinion is even starting with yourselves, the language you're using, how do you interact with someone if their language isn't necessarily first person or person first. So how can you model that for the individual you're talking with and start moving away from other jargon and moving into recognizing it's a disease and it's a person with a use disorder. It's not X, Y, or Z, ABC, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, and earlier discussions, this has come up so many times, but I think that our region is behind a lot of other places. And Jeanette, you said that just this morning, that we are years behind other places that have a leg up on, trauma-informed care, person first language, all these things that have been regular practice there for 20 years. We're kind of just now coming around to. And I think that in a short period of time, we have seen the impact that it can have. So really trying to get that message out, trying to give people better tools to address, these issues that are going on. I think that's a huge, huge push for us. So if no one has anything else, I know this is maybe we just think about this. If you don't feel comfortable sharing, that's okay. But even those silent biases sometimes can creep into the work that we do. It can creep into our interactions outside of work. Even just an interaction with a homeless person, like how do we model what we do in everything that we do? So trying to frame this anti-stigma campaign with a challenge in the beginning, I felt like was a hard thing to do, but I think important. So let's all remember to think about this as we move forward and as we are building the tools to educate and to empower people around us.
I think before we move on, I just do want to insert one more thing. Just because yesterday morning I got to be a part of the Science of Stigma training. And, one of the things is a lot of times we want to place blame, or we may even feel ashamed or embarrassed because we think a certain way. And just reminding one another that, those things are planted a lot of times without our own permission, right? Those things we see them, we accept them, and then we act on them a lot because that's how we grew up. And so kind of removing in order for us to look at self first, to remove that shame or embarrassment or guilt about what we're feeling, acknowledge it so that we can move through it. So just I thought that was pretty powerful as we self-evaluate.
Absolutely. Thanks for adding that, Jeanette. Okay, so as we have discussed in several forms, but never quite all together, we are working through some strategies to combat stigma in our area, and these are some of our major push items for the next 6 months. So we are encouraging people to continue with the resources that are available, not just through Faces and Voices, but there's such a great resource that I included them here again. We personally, with the ROSC, have a strategy forward with local media, social media, and our Facebook Live pages to change messaging. One of the ideas that we have had and would like some feedback on would be the idea of some sort of a recovery press release that we pitch out to local media, whether it is radio, newspaper, town magazines, anything like that. And we would be looking for ideas of where we could send that information, but it would include maybe a little blip, a focus word or something like that for the month. And then our upcoming events, including the Recovery and Action Committee meetings, including a link to other recovery meetings that are going on. Sorry, my brain just deleted what I was trying to say. And so that information, instead of someone having to go online and search for it, was just presented to them in their local newspaper. So even if they personally are not struggling, they might know someone that is. They might clip it out and send it to their grandson and say, I saw this and you really need to get help. Having that be part of the conversation. So does anyone have any thoughts on that? And secondly, does anyone have any input on good outlets for us that I might not have mentioned? Again, kind of hoping for some collaboration. And
I just think that, can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay, I think that if we get these messages out about these people who are in recovery and doing well, that might help reduce the stigma. So those stories of people who have had bad things happen, use drugs, and now they're in recovery. That gives everyone hope, and and those people can serve as the stories for the community. So people say, yes, people change. I'm a firm believer that people change because I work with high school dropouts. And so obviously they obtain their GED and they do something with their lives.
Right.
And so I do this because I believe in it. And I always tell people your past does not equal your future. And that's just very important. We all make mistakes and none of us are perfect. So I try to make all the students feel at ease, to let them know I'm here to support them.
I love that, Melissa. I feel like maybe there would even be an opportunity for us to chat separately and come up with, maybe some of your folks would like to share a
Sure.
story, even if it's anonymous. I don't care if names are attached. And some people might feel more comfortable if it was anonymous. However, I do agree that those recovery stories are hopeful, and they do plant the seed that if they can do it, so can I.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what peer recovery is built around. That's what, that's what we're trying to do. So do you think that's something that the community at large would enjoy or would be open to, even in more of a mainstream setting?
I mean, I think so, but maybe let's ask other people on the call and see how they feel about it. I know that's important to me, and I read the stories and I'm like, oh, they've made a difference in their life. They're making changes. It's possible.
Yeah. And those could be flyers too, that we could put up on community bulletin boards, and you have like a recovery story, and they're different. Yeah, Jenna, what have you got?
So I don't know if this would work for you guys or not, but we developed a website through Squarespace, and it wasn't that expensive. It was like $600, but we're working on a anti-stigma project for Sangamon County where we're interviewing people and we're keeping it simple. We're just asking them, what does recovery look like to you? And we're building a recovery wall. So if you wanted to look at it on our website, I'll send it to you.
Awesome. Yeah. Would you share that in the chat?
Yeah. And those seem to be going pretty well. We usually give people gift cards to participate, and we just want to keep building that wall up. And then another thing I was going to say is, I don't know if you guys have like trifolds or flyers or anything like that, but just getting all of your information out with something to hand out too, not just on media, but I'd flood your environment, your community with everything ROSC, you know what I mean? Put it up at the grocery stores, put it up at the gas stations, link, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and we are reprinting our little Jeanette, the cards, right? Do we know when those are back?
I've already picked them up and distributed some since we talked.
So if anyone needs some more,
yes.
Yep, just
hit
flood
us
it
up.
Yep. That's all I got though. Thanks.
Awesome.
I look forward to checking that out. We're starting to do our second live is tomorrow. So, but what I wanted to come back around and touch what Melissa was saying about that's what Faces and Voices are doing so well, is helping those with lived experience have the language to change the narrative, to move from the sad, sorry, episodes of intervention and move to sharing what recovery in action looks like. How do you live in recovery? And so a lot of us need help. A lot of us who have been around for some time can get stuck in that story, or we don't know quite how to change that narrative when someone asks and they want to hear the gory details versus hearing the victories and what's happening today. And so I encourage those who haven't went on Faces and Voices, please do. If you know folks who are people with lived experience, send them there. There are free resources available, trainings available. But that's where I feel like that is really going to impact the recovery world when we work together to share a new narrative, right? that recovery is possible, that we can not just thrive or live and survive, but we thrive in recovery. And this is what it looks like. So I love that folks are talking about that, but that definitely is a resource that is doing a very good job at helping us with that narrative.
Definitely. Any other feedback on education items before we move on to some of our other upcoming things? Okay, you can always reach out to us separately too if you think of something after the fact. Okay, so we do have a few upcoming events, which we are very excited about. I'm going to go into a little more detail in the next couple of slides. But we have our July summer events, which we're penciling in calling Recovery Jams. If anyone's got a better name, I like Recovery Jams, Jeanette. I think that's a good one. And then we also have our Walk for Recoveries happening again in September, one in each county for both event series. So again, going to go into more detail there in a bit. We also have some exciting opportunities coming for our Recovery and Action Committee involvement, some mentorship, training, and service opportunities. We are looking for opportunities for people. Folks want to get involved. They want to get out into the community and, show, be that example of what successful recovery can look like. Oh, I skipped myself. And the focus again there sort of segues into connection. We've started saying connection builds compassion and compassion houses hope. We haven't decided what we're going to do with that yet, but we kind of like it. It's a snazzy. We are looking for and actively seeking out opportunities for partnerships with local businesses. That will include either sponsorship opportunities for events, job opportunities for people with lived experience, and we can help with some kind of a network matchmaking, sort of a jobs help assistance program. And then we are also looking for ways, as always, for the ROSC to support existing initiatives. So if you or anyone you know has something going on that we should be there, or that we should be, schlepping bottled water or something, let us know and we can come and help out. All right.
Yeah. Can I just to that real quick? I'm just
Please.
thinking, so the helping out. So right now it does appear that there's a gap with helping folks get to treatment. I know in an earlier call, we were trying to connect with Tazwood Unity Place to kind of see, their building is shut down right now due to construction, and the calls are being funneled to the Pekin office. And so I also was speaking with William, who is over at the health department in the MAR department area. I don't know his exact title, but and so he had a couple people who were struggling to get to treatment, who needed that ride. That is something that we as the ROSC want to be able to step in and help with, should we be able to. So until I haven't heard back from Tazwood Unity Place to see what the plans are, and I'm still working on that as far as safe passages goes, but just kind of putting it out there. If you have someone who is needing that, the barrier is transportation, please reach out to me, so that, like I said, we want to ensure that folks have a secure way to get help. Kim, do you know, is that I know that they had gas cards available for those to help out. Does probation have anything like that? Or have you heard anything more about gas cards?
I have not heard anything more about gas cards. We do not have, I thought that they did have gas cards at Tazwood.
Yes, I do believe they do. I think the barrier is right now is being able to connect with them.
Last I heard, the gas cards were held up with like legal, because they're coming out of like the RLC funding. And then Taswood wasn't responding to get it approved because we have to get their, I don't know, some legal paperwork that I don't understand. Get that just to make sure they're like a legitimate organization. We're not just handing out like hundreds of dollars to random people, kind of. That was last I heard, and Nadia left. She's the one that knows. So if there is somebody else that like if Taswood would not be the best place, if it would be probation or just the police department like it was before, let us know and we can reallocate them if necessary.
So Randy, are you saying that Taswood will not accept gas cards from the ROSC or what?
No, so it's through RLC, the Leadership Center project, and we just need like a signed agreement to say what they're going to use the gas cards for. And last I heard, we did not have that signed agreement.
How hard is that?
I don't know. Yeah.
Exactly why I'm kind of bringing it up here, because it is a very necessary gap that we need to fill. I think with my availability too, the fact that I'm in the community remote, where I can travel to Mason County to help people get where they need to go, even outside until we figure this gas card thing out. No matter. We
If
need
people
to
need a ride, give us a call.
That's right. Absolutely.
We
but
will find
Kim, if you
someone to
want
give them a ride.
Well, here's the thing. I am perfectly, I don't know how this works though. I'd be willing to be a conduit. I don't want to be the holder of any money or anything, but I would be happy to sign an agreement and say that, yes, I'll try to facilitate. I don't know if that helps or not. I mean, I will also first talk to Teresa and find out why we're having this problem.
That would be great if you are able to communicate with, like I said, I try to go to the physical office. So there's really not a lot of direction. The telephone numbers that are on the door right now go to the, so I think that's one thing too, that we would be really great if we have, if any of your agencies or any services that you provide are going to have a big shift, like relocating for a time or being closed or having limited access for a time, to report that, to not report it, but to share it with us so that we can share it with the community as a whole. We can send that out and
update any directories that we may have.
Well, I can address, in defense of Taswood at this current moment, somebody showed up there to move them on Friday, didn't tell them, they didn't know where they were going. They thought they were going one place, that did not pan out.
Wow.
They are now working from home until they figure out where they're going. So that is up the chain, and that is not anything to do with them. They didn't know themselves.
Wow. That must be so stressful.
There's no
for
getting
Unity,
out ahead of that.
Unity Place, you guys, and can give you the contact person for the individual that's in charge of all like outpatient services and so on, which is Teresa, is basically Teresa's supervisor, my supervisor. If that's helpful at all, I can leave that in the chat box.
I appreciate that. I think we all have that information. It's just kind of making that actual connection. And it could explain why folks haven't heard back because of this kind of unexpected trend, move. I know they were anticipating it, but I hear Kim saying not in the way that it actually happened.
So hopefully within, I'm hoping to hear by next week what they're doing locally.
Okay, awesome. I think, yeah, just letting us know how we can help too is really the takeaway, I think. Right, Jeanette? That's really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, to use us as the ROSC to be able to communicate to others like a change like this, or any kind of shift that may, because I guess what we find is that if we refer someone to a place and there's something that's significantly shift for one reason or another, we lose credibility, and we lose the potential for people to reach back out to us. For
Well, we may lose
instance,
the ability to help that person, which
Oh,
we
absolutely.
don't want to lose sight of. Because especially, we all know how much courage it takes to come forward and ask for help. And if someone is ready in one moment and there's not a ride, they may be like, well, forget it, and just not come back. So finding ways to connect people with services is a huge part of our mission. And just trying to navigate through any changes that may occur, obviously with the shift from the police station to, the Safe Passages program moving over, there's, going to be things that get lost in the cracks for a couple of weeks for sure. So we just want to help mitigate any of that and make sure that people are getting the services that they need. But to jump back to Recovery Jam, we are a go for July the 16th in Lincoln and the following weekend in Havana. We are looking at this being a fun family day, like a field day, with the opportunity for informational booths, family kids activities, and some games and prizes, including great gift cards. We are still trying to nail down a food partner, somebody who would be willing to basically bring a food truck or something like that. So if anyone knows anyone at the barbecue food truck, that would be super helpful because they have not called me back. Really anything kind of like that, who might be a good fit for coming and selling some food and refreshments.
I was reading the chat. Can you repeat what you just said about the food and the food truck?
Yeah, we're looking for a food truck. If anyone knows anyone at any of the local food trucks, I have not heard back from the Nuthatch Barbecue folks. I'm not sure if their phone number is up to date, the one that is on their online.
What about the other one, the Hunan or whatever that thing is?
The Japanese, yeah, I can't remember. The one there, I know what you're talking about, Kim, and now I can't think of the name.
Okay, I will look into it. It's a Japanese.
Well, it's I forget. Is it Hunan or Hasaki? I forget.
Yeah, something like that. I can double check. I know exactly what you mean, Kim.
Okay.
I can hunt down that name. That's another, food truck.
Could also be a local restaurant that would be willing to like bring things out and sell them there. We cannot, the way that our grant is worded, we cannot buy food. We can help with things like transportation costs to offset. We just have to be a little bit strategic about the line items because of how our grant is worded. So we're looking for some partners, some long-term partners to do things with. If anyone can think of anyone, a local business that might be willing to jump in and get involved, I would appreciate any leads.
We've had food trucks coming to the hospital and setting up serving food recently.
Really?
And I've gotten a text from someone working out there that sent it to the courthouse and the banks and different stuff to let them know they could come there. I could find out if they could give me some contact information if you.
That would be fabulous.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. Because even if it doesn't work for this particular event, we've got things kind of coming down the pike, and we're going to be looking for long-term friends with food.
Kim, were you going to say something else?
I was just going to say that I will try to get some contacts also in that regard.
Appreciate that a ton, Kim. Thank you.
I kind of want to jump in the chat real quick. I don't want folks to not feel seen or heard. Jenna, thank you for that. The ministries are able to assist with transportation at times. We are, I have connected with a couple churches here that are looking for ways to serve, and that's definitely something that we've put on their radar. So thank you. That just validates that we're kind of in the right direction. And also, I see the question about Sue put out about how successful Safe Passages has been. I know that's something that because when it was created, it was coming from, or people would have to go to the police station in order to receive that service. And that was, we found a huge barrier. That's not the first place that folks want to go, no matter how desperate they are. It is fearful enough. Let alone they would have to be, their name would have to be run first. And there was just a lot to it. So I too have not seen myself, I don't want to misspeak, but personally kind of referring people when it was in that position. So that's why we were pretty excited when it was being moved over to Tazwood Unity Place. So definitely hoping to hear more information about that. Hopefully that's a more user-friendly pathway to be able to get into treatment. So that definitely is the hope. And Abby, as far as the times of the events, we have not narrowed that down yet, but we will be getting publications out.
We'll have flyers out the beginning of the month, next month. So like beginning next week or the following week. Still just waiting to hear back from a couple of key people.
And Angie, thank you for the shout outs with the Gohan cheesed out.
I have written that number down. Thank you.
That was the name, Kim, the Gohan.
Awesome. And then after its roaring success last year, we are going back to our walk for recovery. I'm excited. It'll be my first walk for recovery, and because I was having a baby last year, so I'm excited to bring the little dude in the stroller and do all the walking too. We're looking at September 17th in Lincoln, and then the following weekend in Havana, with the same locations. Also looking for folks to have a table or a booth, whatever they would prefer, however we're going to set that up. I think the table situation was very successful last year from what I hear. And we are also hoping to grow this event pretty substantially over last year. We had a great turnout, and we think we can double or triple it this year in both locations. So starting getting the word out on this as well. We are going to have materials for this by the end of June. So we are hoping that all of you will spread it around and get everyone out and do some great walking for recovery. Also open to all of the great ideas that we might have around these events, whether it is music or business partners or other ways that this could be really fun. We do, as I've said before, have, the budget for some community building events, as well as those gift cards that we can use for prizes. So if there's anything that sounds awesome, like a costume contest at the walk or something like that, that would be fun, we could incentivize folks to participate with a snazzy gift card. Any thoughts on the walk or the summer event? Okay. I am mindful of the time. We now have about 15 minutes, and I want to make sure that we leave room for everyone to talk about what they have going on. So it's that time again to toot your horn. I should get a cool, like a trumpet solo to go right here. Next time, trumpet solo.
That's all I got.
There you go.
That's all I got. Now, this is
Yeah.
so important, I think, in order for us to.
I learn
kinda-
so much from this section every time that, somebody, oh, well, yesterday this happened and what's going on?
I was going to say, this is really important also to help to break down some of those silos so we really can know what other folks are doing. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm just doing the same old thing, but we may have someone on that's never know what your old thing is, right? And so even just sharing what you have going on in this last month would be helpful, because remember, these are then broadcast on YouTube and people do go later and to look at these. So, if we could just kind of get a share of, kind of the happenings of your last month, that could be really helpful and go a long way.
I can do a little talking for you. First thing that I'm going to put a thing in the chat. FGC just launched this immediate access to care line. And if individuals are looking for Suboxone maintenance, they can call this line and get connected to a provider. And then a prescription can be sent to their local pharmacy.
Wow.
We launched it in Chicago and it's going pretty well. It's through a pilot program. And we did just do our first induction in Taylorville this last month as well. Another thing that I wanted to add is that we are having some success in Sangamon County with working with Sangamon County Jail. We connected them with the HMA group, and we are hopeful that they are going to apply for I can't remember exactly which grant it is. It's a expenditure for a learning collaborative for MAR in jails. So I believe that that's going to launch hopefully by July. I'm hopeful.
Wow.
And that would be really good for the continuation of care in our county, because in our county, if our patients are incarcerated, they are not able to have their medicated assisted treatment, whether that be methadone or Suboxone. So they are literally detoxing cold turkey in there. I'm hopeful that if Sangamon County can launch it and do well with it and have the outcomes that the other counties are having, maybe it'll have an impact on some of the smaller counties, and the sheriffs can talk. We do have Mindful Mondays every Monday in Sangamon County. We do yoga at Flow Yoga at 6:30. So if anyone wants to travel, it's open to community members that are in recovery and to family members. That's really all I have. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Jenna. What else is new, everybody?
So this is Sue with Unity Point Health, Unity Place, with some overdose prevention updates. Everybody's aware of fentanyl being having that content in just about every illicit drug that you could even imagine. So with that, in addition to the naloxone distribution and training, I'm also distributing fentanyl test strips. So just to get word out there, if anyone's in need, reach out.
Hey, Sue, I will be reaching out because our public health departments ran out of them now.
Sure, I've got it.
Perfect. Thank you.
I love that.
Who else has something cool going on?
Can I share a little personal recovery story?
Definitely.
Well, a few years back, my nephew disclosed to me that he was using IV heroin on a daily basis. And so he asked for help. We went to South Carolina that day and picked him up. He was working for the company that he's still working for. Sue Tisdale helped coordinate some of this and gave me some information. We dropped him off at Detox in Bloomington at Chestnut. He completed residential treatment there. No, he completed detox there. There was not a bed, so he went to Proctor. He had insurance. Completed residential there. Completed intensive outpatient there. Completed outpatient there. And then his time was up. He had to go back to work. And so they were placing him in Texas. So we did the work to find a place for him in Texas to finish his aftercare, found out where meetings were. As he was walking from his aftercare place to his hotel before he had a place to live, he walked past a sober living house. God wink, but anyway, lived there for several months. I'm gonna get emotional. Last week, we drove to Texas to meet his new baby and his family. He's a supervisor on his job. It's amazing to me. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And that's what it's about, right? And you hear the story of the collaboration in that, and that we are stronger together, y'all. We are stronger together. And, you know, for me, that's the fuel to keep going. That story right there. Thank you so much for sharing.
That's incredible. And congratulations to them and their new little guy or girl. Is it a boy or girl?
It's a little boy. And of course, I made cookies to take to celebrate.
Of course you did.
Celebrated well then, because I heard about those cookies.
Amazing. Well, does anyone else? I'm emotional over here, but it's so wonderful. Does anyone else have anything? Or you are always welcome to send it to us and we can blast it out to anyone. If you have any print materials that you want us to share, please let us know and we can get it out to the whole list. Or if it's appropriate to put it on our social media pages, we can do that too. We are here, use us. Okay. Well, so we are looking at June the 16th, which is the third Thursday again, back to regular scheduled programming. And make sure that you're marking your calendars for our upcoming events as well. So we would love to see all of you there. Share it with anyone who might like to come. Again, we're hoping to get the word out early on the recovery walk this year because we're hoping that that event is really impactful. We're hoping to have the local media there. We would like to really make a splash. So let's get the word out and work together, and however we can support your organizations being involved, we would like to do that.
So will you be pushing out flyers as soon, or have you already determined that those are the for sure date times or what?
Those are the for sure dates. We are still ironing out the times on both events, but the summer event is going to be pushing out flyers next week, and the recovery walk will be pushing out flyers a little bit later in June, probably by our next meeting. But we're juggling a couple of other things too. So we just want to make sure that we're telling you the right time. It'll be before the end of June for the recovery walk that we have print materials and digital materials to share. Do you have anything to add to that, Jeanette?
Not to that, no. Sounds good.
Okay. All right, everyone. Well, with that, I think we are going to be wrapping up. I am going to stop recording now. So if anyone wants to say anything crazy, now is the time.
Also, real quick, you know, we always are looking who's at the table, who's not at the table, right? Who needs to be at the table. So if we walk away thinking of that, you know, we want to invite folks. We want to hear Again, we are stronger together. We have those amazing experiences to bring together and really impact our community. So if there is any homework, that be it, that, the invite, or if someone, you want to kind of share what we're doing and they're like, I don't understand. And you want to share, our contact information or share their contact information with us, we are more than happy to reach out to them and kind of give them a picture of what we got going on here. But yeah, it matters. So.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to stop recording.
Bye, all. Have a great rest of your month.